April 14th. So awesome to see you. Grab a coffee. Lucky me, I even got it. Eclair. And let's get smarter together. I totally meant to talk about the military coinage slavery complex today and how that led to a sudden change of a collective mind to the point that it became a given that people are driven only by their desire to make profit. And I will, just not in the way I had planned. Let's instead start here. I said that the Iron Age, which by the way lasted from around 1200 BC to 550 BC, was a time when old empires broke down and the political landscape turned into a checkerboard of often diminutive kingdoms and city-states, most often at constant war externally and locked into constant debate within. What we see here is the result of a fierce competition for retainers and slaves by the numerous heroic figures who defined themselves over their strong belief that they were explorers only and as such exempt from manual, standardized work. At the end of this time period, when the competition took the shape of huge campaigns involving professional soldiers, coinage arose almost simultaneously in 3 different places. On the Great Plains of northern China, in the Ganges River Valley of northeast India, and in the lands surrounding the Aegean Sea. In each case, between roughly 600 and 500 BC. I will explain the connection more profoundly in the coming days. For now, the competition, the wars with professional soldiers were the reason it happened. What's fascinating is that parallel to this, something else developed as well. A dropout culture with ascetics and sages fleeing to the wilderness or wandering from town to town seeking wisdom. Figures like Pythagoras, who lived from 570 to 495 BC, the Buddha, who lived from 563 to 483 BC, and Confucius, who lived from 551 to 479 BC, were, though unaware of each other's existence, all contemporaries. We witness the emergence of almost exactly the same collection of philosophical tendencies in all 3 regions, as well as the emergence of all of today's world religions and then some. All of them basically ponder the question, who am I? So it shouldn't come as a surprise when I say that this was also the time that the Old Testament was compiled from stories that evolved in the region since at least the 7th century BC, including the story of Salomon&ants. The prevalent interpretation is what led to the Protestant ethos, one that equates morality with industriousness with exploitation of existing knowledge. But when I look at the context, at the actual story told and the knowledge that what had been in everyone's mind at the time of writing, I question this much later interpretation. Solomon was born the son of a simple man who assumed the position of a king. To put it into the technical terms used today, he was the son of a heroic figure who'd resisted the features of a nearby urban civilization and who'd collected retainers in a fierce competition. There was nothing special about Salomon, one generation removed from being one of many, but for the thing he defined himself as, an explorer of novelty and uniqueness, with which he tried to impress his people. And yet, he was boastful, demanding special treatment, also known as he too was of a strong belief that standardized work was not for him and instead he deserved to be taken care of by others. Until he was dropped between people who didn't know him or of him. Without his retainers and slaves, he was reduced to a beggar who was laughed at for his claims to be a king and ignored. Lost in the desert, he came up a hill of swarming ants. He saw them running around working in a way, yes, but he saw them exploring as well as exploiting according to their own choosing, every single one of them. And together they were stronger, where alone they'd be hard-pressed to survive, as hard-pressed as he was at that very moment. Salomon saw and understood exactly what Professor Melanie Moses has seen and understood thousands of years later with our scientific methods today when looking at the ants. They and we are not one thing. We are neither forced to follow the pheromone trails to exploit the knowledge of others, nor are we forced only to explore all the time. We are everything at once, depending on the situation and what is needed to problem solve. And at all times, we are not able to succeed without others, the society we are a member of, and without sharing, so that not even the least successful explorers, like Salomon had been by defining himself as one thing, would be reduced to beggar kings. When people in the Iron Age ask, "Who am I?" they saw the problems with two extremes, standardization and hero societies that had created the destruction of trust and credit because of the establishment of impersonal markets through coinage, war, and people reduced to slaves, walking debts without kin and stolen of their life force, and they were all looking for the ideal balance between exploring and exploiting in order to create a society that might benefit all again, allow everyone to be alive while breathing. And so do we still today, just that we need to rediscover that that's what we are doing. Give yourself permission to explore again, because that's what's missing today, not least because of a Protestant ethos that doesn't fit the story it's based on. Also known as think. Make a habit out of thinking. Let's turn thinking into a movement. Like, comment, share, and follow, lest you miss a single opportunity to improve yourself and society. And just like that, coffee break is over. Bye.